Blinking lights. On Friday, November 7, 2025, at 10:07 p.m., a resident in Santan Valley, Arizona, noticed something unusual in the night sky while facing north. The sighting was first picked up by an indoor camera pointed out a window. Curious, the resident decided to capture the phenomenon directly through their own window and later uploaded the footage online for others to see. The video, recorded late at night, shows a series of faint lights in the sky, difficult to spot at first, but clearly present upon closer inspection. The lights don't move like typical aircraft and seem to appear and fade without following a clear pattern. With no sound and no obvious explanation, the sighting quickly attracted attention from viewers hoping to solve the mystery. Attempts to correlate the lights with known flight paths, satellites, or local events came up empty. No official reports of unusual activity in the area were made public. The witness, after editing and re-uploading the footage for clarity, remains unsure of what they actually saw. So what exactly appeared in the Arizona sky that Friday night? Was it a rare atmospheric event, a distant aircraft, or something much harder to explain? The question remains open for anyone willing to investigate. Flying jellyfish. On November 8th at 11:05 a.m., off the coast of Palm Beach, Florida, an unusual object caught the attention of local residents. One witness, whose wife recorded the sighting, described seeing something truly out of the ordinary hovering over the water. According to her account, the object resembled a ball with jellyfish-like appendages hanging down beneath it. What made the event even more curious was the object's behavior. For approximately 20 to 25 minutes, it remained completely stationary in the same spot, unaffected by wind or waves. There were no visible signs of propulsion, and it did not resemble any typical aircraft, weather balloon, or known marine device. After a prolonged period of hovering, the object abruptly vanished from sight, leaving behind no trace or explanation. The sighting was documented on video and later shared in hopes that someone might have an idea of what had been seen that morning. Was it an unusual weather phenomenon, an experimental drone, or something entirely different? The witness's question remains, what was the strange, jellyfish-like object floating off the coast of Palm Beach, and could there be more out there waiting to be discovered? Flying metallic ball. A remarkable sight was recently captured on video near Yambo, Colombia. A metallic sphere floating above the city in broad daylight. The object stands out against the sky, with a highly reflective surface that catches the sunlight as it moves steadily through the air. What makes this sighting particularly unusual is the complete absence of any visible means of propulsion. There are no wings, rotors, or jets, just a perfect, gleaming sphere. Locals who witnessed the event described the object as silent and smooth in its movement, with no indication that it was being carried by the wind or controlled remotely. Its path seemed deliberate, moving at a constant speed and altitude, never wavering or changing direction abruptly. The footage has drawn significant attention online, with viewers debating whether the sphere could be a specialized weather balloon, an experimental drone, or something entirely different. Yet its flawless, uniform shape and unusual flight characteristics make it difficult to categorize using conventional explanations. So what was this sphere that drifted over Yambo's skies? Was it a new type of technology being tested, or could it be an example of unexplained aerial phenomena? The mystery remains open, inviting further speculation and investigation. White glowing object. At 4:09 p.m. on November 8th, as the sun was setting over Crouch End, London, a resident noticed something unusual in the sky. A bright glowing object hovered quietly above the city, remaining in view for several minutes before fading from sight. The witness, familiar with the steady flow of planes passing over the area, immediately noted that this object had no visible wings and didn't move like a typical aircraft. The glowing light appeared to remain stationary for a time, its brightness standing out sharply against the dimming evening sky. There was no audible engine noise, and it did display the flashing navigation lights commonly seen on drones or airplanes. While it's possible that the glow came from sunlight reflecting off a distant object, the observer wasn't convinced, describing the sight as unlike anything they had seen before. The sighting drew curiosity online after being shared, with viewers suggesting possibilities ranging from a high-altitude drone to a reflective balloon or even a satellite flare. Still, questions remain. If it was simply sunlight reflecting off an object, why did it remain visible for so long? And why was it completely silent? Could it have been something more unusual above London's evening sky that day? Falling stars. Just before I move to the next point, if you are new here and love watching mysterious, creepy, and real unexplained sightings, check out Mysterious Encounters. It's packed with chilling videos you won't forget, and subscribe right away and watch out the new video given in the link in the description below. At around 5:25 p.m. on November 8th, 2025, in Basingstoke, UK, a resident captured an unusual scene in the evening sky while about to enter a shop. Three bright lights appeared above the rooftops, glowing steadily against the darkening sky. The witness noted that the objects didn't seem to be at helicopter altitude. Instead, they appeared much higher, almost resembling stars slowly descending toward the horizon. Curious about what they were seeing, the observer checked live aviation data on flight radar but found no aircraft in that direction at the time. The lights maintained their positions briefly before fading from view, with no sound or flashing navigation indicators typical of planes or drones. The sighting prompted questions from others in the area, with some wondering if local events, drones, or even flares could explain the strange display. However, no scheduled activities or announcements were reported that night. Were these simply flares, atmospheric reflections, or perhaps something rarer, like fragments of a small meteor breaking up in the upper atmosphere? The object's unusual brightness and apparent slow descent have left the witness and others still wondering. What exactly was moving through Basingstoke's evening sky that night? White points of light. Over the city of Savannah, Georgia, a series of unusual white lights have been appearing in the night sky. The witness, who has observed them since the summer, describes solid white points of light, never flashing, always silent, moving at different angles before fading in and out of view. They appear in small groups, often 1 to 3 at a time, sometimes ascending, other times descending, then vanishing without trace. At first, one light moves steadily across the frame, trailed by another that fades before the first disappears. Then 2 lights approach from opposite directions, crossing paths before both fade into the darkness. And it is perhaps the most intriguing. A bright, steady light passes directly in front of a conventional aircraft with blinking lights and a clear flight path. The aircraft remains visible, but the unexplained light fades abruptly, a clear contrast in behavior. Weather conditions were cloudless and flight radar data showed no matches in the area. These lights don't align with known satellite paths or typical aircraft patterns. Could they be part of unmarked aerial testing, an optical effect, or something we have yet to understand? The Savannah lights remain a quiet, persistent mystery in the night sky. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel to watch new videos.